Hobby now. It is December 6th, 2023. I am ZiggyNo, your host. Thank you for joining me on this weekly podcast YouTube show. A lot to get to today. First of all, I'll say it's fun doing these weekly shows, although midweek I'm like, man, I can't wait till Wednesday. I can't wait till Wednesday. I gotta wait. I can't wait till Wednesday. So I do drop out some shorts every now and then on the YouTube channel. Get a chance, check that out. 3 years ago, PSA was purchased by Nat Turner and an investment group. We're going to talk about that. Reflect on 3 years of PSA. It's 2023. It's December. Remember where we were 3 years ago. Repacks. Talk a little bit about Repacks. Fanatics auditing. You hear about this? Probably the biggest news of 2023 that no one is talking about. No one even sees the impact of this, but Rubin said he's going to, have the Fanatics distribution. He didn't say distribution, but have the Fanatics process of loaded boxes audited. Talk about that. eBay Comc announcement last week. It was on Wednesday last week. Talk about that. Giannis, 1/1 Mosaic Prizm. We're going to talk about the story because it's an interesting history of this card and interesting tragedy, maybe, but we're going to see more of. That Ruth card. Talk about that. Some insights from some other blogs on the hobby, health of the hobby, how things are selling in the hobby. There's some interesting sales going on in the hobby that just blown my mind. Wemby, Archie Manning is another one. Breaker versus local card store. And I hate to say versus because a lot of times one is the other. But I was just going to make an argument that I think the hobby grows faster with good breakers, not just anybody breaking, but good breakers. Look at the future, right? It's December. We're not going to do the flashback to 23 videos yet, but let's look a little bit forward to 2024 in the spring and what we're going to see and what we could see from products. Like I still think, holding out hope, I'm going to see some NBA and NFL Chrome product, right? We already told we're going to get an NBA Chrome. What about NFL Chrome? Are you getting anything for those guys? And then I'll talk about what I'm doing in the hobby now. Personally, myself. So again, thank you for your time. Let's go ahead and start with talking about PSA 3 years ago. Think about this. 3 years ago, it was December 2020. We went through the rush of the summer. Hobby market's booming. Channels are popping. Sports Card Live is like the hottest show on YouTube, in my opinion, man. Who do you have on there? I forget who it was. They were talking about Nat Turner buying PSAs. Big news. Everybody's excited. And Jeremy went on how this is great because a true collector has bought PSAs and make things better. I remember even asking in chat, what if Jeff Wilson bought it? And I remember Jeremy being, that'd be terrible. Jeff's an investor. And I only bring this up to just kind of remind people of the atmosphere at the time. There were kind of two polarizing forces, the collector, right? And then the investor army, I guess it started. Which you'll find a lot of. The hobby is very cliquish, almost like high school in a way, right? And you're like, come on, guys, can't we all go along? Are we all supposed to be in the hobby together? Right? Aren't we all going to the same school? Are we all, Rams or Wildcats or whatever the hell we want to call ourselves? But so what happened? Nate buys it. Nat, I call him Nate. Nat buys it. A few months later, March, right? 4 months later, he shuts down PSA. Remember that? So again, we have another boom in February. Hobby markets fire. This is also the same time of 2021 is when the GameStop fire takes off, and crypto takes off. A lot of things take off in 2021, February. I'm trying to think why. It's not really important, but anyway, there's a lot of other factors at play here. In March, he shuts down PSA. Now, I say that because by this time, at this time 3 years ago, we were just shoving cards at PSA. We had no idea how bad the backlog was. We had no idea what was going to happen. We had no idea the prices were going to rise up. Like people were putting in submissions at $9, $10 a card, slamming stuff into PSA. PSA shuts down, and it really what sparked, right, the boom. Isn't that when SGC came out? Was it spring? Yeah, I think they did it in this. No, they did it in 2020 when they said, hey, you guys are sick because of the COVID. They were able to take another hit because at this time they throttled right to $75, right? If I remember correctly, they got hit after PSA shut down. SGC got hit so bad they throttled their price to $75 a card. Think about that, right? And then you have all these other grading companies come out. HGA's on fire because you get in a queue to get your cards graded by them. Beckett's asleep. Beckett's asleep. You can submit your cards to Beckett, but you have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, you're just like totally blind. This is again this time last, 3 years ago and up. Fast forward 3 years from now, or 3 years where we are today. I would have to say grading has changed a lot. I mean, for me, I think it's a must-have. Most people grade, although there's an attrition where people say they're going to grade, they never do it. It's harder than people think to follow through. But overall, think about it. I mean, PSA is dominant. They do 1 million cards a month. You got SGC, CGC, and somebody else. You got Tag. Tag came out of nowhere, right? I didn't even know who Tag was 3 years ago. But Tag is like at least in the conversation because of their AI. You got Arena Club, right? Arena Club and the Repacks. But you have these companies that you didn't even think about back then. GMA still around, KSI still around. Grading, wow, how much has changed? More people grade, right? So all those other companies are getting spillover business. So 3 years ago, PSA was brought, and here we are today. Love your thoughts, your comments. What do you think? Is grading better, worse? I would say grading overall is consistently trash. Like I've said before, it's magic, it's wizards, and that's what you just have to accept. Now, I've seen some crazy things happen in the last few years. I didn't think was going to happen. One ring to rule them all under Fanatics. Auditing of distribution process announced. We might see, standardization of grading, and maybe technology takes over. I'm gonna flip over a little bit and talk about. Let's talk about Fanatics and the announcement again. I think it was Wednesday last week, when maybe Thursday. Neo did a great job listening to Rubin on a podcast say that he brought in, I think it was Deloitte, to audit the process so they don't get grief for loaded boxes. This to me, I was on, I think, Saturday night with AIH and Dan. I think this is big news because, as I've also found out, Topps was public at one time. So it's not like a public company has to audit their distribution process. It's a cost of business. They can do whatever they want to run their business. I say that because up until now, no company has ever audited the distribution process of sports cards. I want you to think about that. Anybody listening, please correct me if I'm wrong. If they have audited it with a third party, a legit third party, let me know. But this is groundbreaking. I think there's always been a doubt. You can always kind of play the tinfoil hat in the hobby because of the, anybody could print this. They can make as much as they want. How do you know they turn the printer off? Type of fear. But this is big. This is big. I know right now we don't see the impacts. We don't feel it. But give this some time. We're going to look back on this announcement. 2023 is probably the biggest announcement of the year for the sports card hobby. Thought it was interesting. I was listening to Hobby Hotline, and they were talking about a bunch of different things. And I brought up the Rubin audit, and none of the hosts were aware of it. I don't want to put them on the spot who it was, but I would say again shows you the broadness of the hobby. Hobby's kind of like water. You have fresh water and you have salt water. You have some hobbyists who are in the salt water who have no fucking idea what is going on in the freshwater. And you have some in the freshwater have no clue what's going on in the salt water. And they don't think it affects each other. Like when one water gets polluted in, like, yeah, it's not going to bother me. It's those goddamn freshwater bastards. It pollutes us all. And when something gets cleaned up, it has a ripple effect to clean up all. But I thought it was interesting. None of them knew about it. Again, I guess it's not as big a news as everybody. I thought Neil did a great job breaking the news and talking about it. To me, it's a big deal. I thought Dan and AIH did a good job talking about it on Saturday night. What are your thoughts? Is it big news? Am I crazy? Anybody else heard about this? Are they the first and only to be audited as a card company? And I can't wait to see the audits, or at least hear about them. I mean, maybe I can't see them, but give me some feedback. Gonna shift gears here. I'm pushing one topic down the list a little bit. Talk a little bit about eBay and Comc last week. Another announcement that came out. I saw a lot of videos on this. Oh, this is great news. And there's like no announcement on any changes. I will say this. I really like what Comc has done recently. They have done a ton of things. And I felt like they were sleeping during COVID. I really think they were just getting their ass kicked. But I think they use the money and all the attention, all the energy to really focus it and do things better. They still need to revamp their website, but they've come out with an app. They have grading back again with PSA and SGC or CGC, I forget which one. I only use PSA anyway for that one. That's not true. I've used CSG as well. I don't want to say something I shouldn't say on camera. A lot of umming. Gotta stop the umming. Comc's done phenomenal things. I mean, I think they should add a trading capability, and they pretty much win the game on the online one-stop card shop. I also saw a video on eBay quitting the vaulting because ComC's going to take over. I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I think eBay, ComC become now, they're the default biggest vault in the world. I mean, think about it. ComC's already the biggest vault for cards. eBay has the exclusive capability to have the high-end vault for high-end cards with no fees. That is a game changer. You can't combine those two together. I mean, it really is. I use ComC. I'm not sponsored by ComC, but I love it. I use eBay too. In fact, after watching some stuff, I went ahead and sent some ComC cards in my collection to sale on eBay. And we'll see how they do. And I will say this too. I might do that with more cards. I've always kind of left cards on ComC and let them sit there and sell as they came in offers. Or I've created portfolios. I've done portfolios, and none of my portfolios have sold recently. I've not had a portfolio bite in over a year. So I'm going to start auctioning more cards off in ComC and see where I can get with that. I think that might be a better way to go. What does the eBay ComC thing mean to me? It means that ComC's got some money. I know, well, I won't say I know. I infer from what I know. ComC's independent. They're run very well. This is really good to bring eBay in, bring some investment, probably an advisor, some maybe management support, maybe help with marketing. For eBay, help solidifies their position in the market space, because I would say the biggest competitor to eBay was probably ComC. I know everybody's gonna think I'm crazy, but I mean that. I think eBay just basically partnered with their biggest competitor. So I think that's a pretty good move. Other news headlines, and these quick headlines. The Babe Ruth card sold for $7.2 million. Wasn't as big of news as people thought. I still think it's great news. In fact, here's the thing I want to point out. That card in 2021, because of a collectible, and it was the same card from what I understand, 1% of it was fractionalized and sold for $60,000, which gave it this valuation of $6 million, which I called bullshit. I'm like, this card's not a $6 million card. And that was in 2021. Well, in 2023, it sold for 7.2. So I want to say collectible actually validated the card's value and probably brought that card and the owner to even thinking about selling it. And I'm thinking, like, if collectible, like, again, I don't want fractionals, but now is a great time to do collectible. Now is a great time for somebody to come in with a bunch of money and buy up a bunch of Grail cards and fractionalize them and wait 10 years to sell them off. And let me just define Grail. It's not the Grail cards people think. And I don't want to get into debate about this, but I just think it's really interesting. Like, if I was rich, and I'm talking about be filthy rich, that's what I would do. I totally would. I would fractionalize a bunch of cards, build a company around it. I think it's a great thing to do right now. I really do. I think right now, like, why are there not more people doing that? I don't know. Let me come back to something I heard on Let Me Get That Potograph did a great breakdown of Giannis. Giannis years ago was caught with a bunch of cards that he was supposed to sign them, and apparently never sent them in. One of those cards was the Mosaic Prizm 1 of 1. It's autographed. It was on his bed that was in the video, but it apparently never made it to the public. Now, what happens is just recently that card surfaced as a white box or black box 1 of 1. Which, let me just say, that's a huge freaking white box or black box 1 of 1 to get the Giannis Mosaic autograph. Now, it appears like it was probably a second one. Like, they probably had two of them. Like, did Giannis give that one up? Or is this the Giannis one? Like, the autograph, I think the sticker, there was some concern there. But my thoughts are a few things. Let me take you back to memory lane. In Prizm 2012, there was no 1 of 1. Okay, autographs were not a big deal, right? So it really was a product that was designed as just kind of a base filler product. You know, get them in the market space after there was the 2 years of no rookie class, and Panini was taking more licensing. In 2013, they added the 1 of 1 black and a Mosaic 1 of 1. I'm trying to think, why was it Mosaic? Because there wasn't a Mosaic product yet. Mosaic as a product comes out later on, but that's the first time I remember Prizm Mosaic being talked about was in 2023, the Giannis Mosaic Prizm 1 of 1, which is the card that, again, has just shown up in a black box. Let me get that autograph, share that information with me. I don't know if I said that already, but do want to give them credit for that. Really interesting story that came out. And I just think to myself, I think we're going to see a lot more of that. In fact, quick little note. Why rookie year is so important. A rookie year is the hobbyist's best friend. It is the only thing that protects the hobbyist from the greed of the manufacturer. Because if it wasn't for that, the manufacturer would greedily print everything they can every year. And what I mean by that, if we didn't call Jordan's rookie year his special rookie year when he was a rookie, every year when he becomes a star, every year afterwards, they can just continue to make super cool stuff, maybe even more and more rare, right? Maybe, and I'm not going to get in this battle with people about this, oh, Ziggy, they can do this. No, my point is the rookie year protects that, hey, only in this year is what you printed considered a rookie year. After that, everything else is a vet year. Year 2 to year 15 and whatever else, they are vet years. You might have all-star years, you might have championship years, but there is only one rookie year. And that is why it's weird how that is. Like, I heard somebody talk about this the other day, I think it was John Mangini, how the rookie card wasn't even popular until 1981. And that was because, again, the investor community was looking at this. And I think part of it was collectors as well. They wanted to protect card value because people are like, well, I've got an old card. Here's another old card. How old is yours? And it's like, well, which one's his rookie year? The year he played. So again, I don't think rookies became popular until they were monetized in the 80s. And we've really taken it next level now. And again, if it wasn't for the rookie year, collectors would get pummeled. And now we're seeing this kind of blur, right? We look at the rookie year now. You have the high school and the college cards, your prospect cards. There still is one professional rookie year, right? That's still, so you could be 3 years in college making Bowman U cards, but you're only going to have one professional rookie year in your professional jersey. I hope we hold that as a protector to the collector and something of value. That being said, I'll point out there's an Archie Manning card. I think it's an Optic autograph. It's only numbered to 49, and God help me, I think it's bid to $70,000. There's no way that gets paid. I saw it in a Facebook group. That just blows my mind. Arch Manning, who's just hasn't been played high school, hasn't played college football yet. He's been sitting on the bench, right? Numbered to 49. Optic draft, I believe. I will say a Wemby Panini Gold Pack, that Wemby card, which I think is short printed, not numbered, sold for $35,000. I believe it was a PSA 10 of that one. I think the Archie was a PSA 10 as well. Now that I think about it. Let's go back to a couple other insights. I did listen to Card Talk this week. Really good conversation with those gentlemen. I do like Card Collector 2 and his two guys. I've always wanted to have a conversation with them, collaboration, just chat with them, meet them in person, but they're kind of standoffish to the older people like myself, which is fine. Like, for example, I'd love to see them in the Hobby Hall of Fame. This is that bridge cross between Card Collector 2 and Mike, Baseball Card Collector. Would you just like to see them do a collaboration together? I mean, think about that. I mean, a true, honest, cool collaboration. That's when the hobby, anyway. In their conversation, one thing I liked about Card Collector 2 is giving you insight on products. Donruss is flying off the shelves. I believe that. I mean, I've seen that myself. I'm not going to say Donruss is a great product. It's not a great product. It's a crap product, guys. It's a crap product. We know that. But because of the uncertainty, because of the delay, because of the lack of good products in the market, that stuff is selling like fire. Something I was at a Donruss break. It did really well in it. Really love Donruss. We'll probably do more Donruss. I'm holding off because Prizm is just a few weeks away. And I know how I really would rather spend my money on Prizm than I would on Donruss. But also got some insights on things like Lorcana is doing well. And this is the thing I want to point out is that the engine that is the hobby of making cards, I'm looking at my whiteboard, making cards at layer 1, selling them at layer 2, which is the big box distributors, layer 3, getting them down to local card stores, breakers, hobbies. That part of the hobby, that core base of the hobby is strong. We are churning through products. We can't wait to get new products. As they come out, we devour them. Bowman Draft, Panini Prizm, doesn't make a difference. We are eating it up. Where things I think are slowest is down at I'd say the layer 6, layer 5, 6, where people are grading and selling or flipping and selling. That layer, it takes a little more, it's harder. In fact, this takes me right to where I want to go with repacks. One of the parts of the hobby that people don't realize It's easy to put cash in. It's hard to get cash out. It's kind of the crypto market. You buy crypto, but to get a crypto out, you got to go through an exchange system. But a lot of stuff gets stuck in non-liquidable assets, which is where I go to repacks. So I'm gonna talk about repacks real quickly. A couple of repacks that were out this week, and let me just first of all say, I did the video with Dan the Gardening and with AIH. I watched the video afterwards, and I would say if I was somebody watching me, I would probably think I'm crazy. I was a little too passionate there at the end about my comment about how bad repackers are, blah 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 blah. I don't like repackers. I don't like them. I'm not going to change. And I'll say this too. I don't like what they do. The people who do it, some of them I buy from, right? Some of them breakers. Some of the people I know. So I don't think they're ethically bad human beings. I think it's kind of like they're selling moonshine. They shouldn't do it. Or maybe they're, again, I don't want to associate with the wrong types of crimes, but it's something I just don't want to do. I wish they wouldn't do it, right? I watched Lootbox open up. What was it? I forget the name of the breaker. Maybe it was in a breaker. Some product that was a repack. I'm just gonna say it was well done. It makes me again realize, just like grading, anybody can repackage a product. It's not the same as being a manufacturer making a product, but anybody can repackage, like anybody can grade. We're gonna see a boom of this. We're gonna see a rise of it. Unfortunately, we're gonna see a rise of it. Repacking is bad for the hobby, in my opinion. It's going to rise because it's predatorial. Assets are declining. People can't sell stuff. But if you take $100 from somebody and say, "Hey, I'll give you a card worth $75, or maybe a card worth $200," they'll do that. And then when they get the $75 card, they can only get $50 back because they can't get cash. Or when they get the $200 card, they only get $150 back, and they really make $50 on the $100 bet. And when you think about that, it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Arena Club. I made a comment about this too. I think one of the interesting things about Arena Club, it does look to me like Arena Club put out kind of like a trough of like, who wants to come eat from our trough? And a lot of influencers just came hungry, starving influencers who needed money. And the reason I say that is that I heard Neo talk about this. Neo didn't do it. Neo says he wasn't approached, but if he was approached, he wouldn't do it. I can see that. I actually think Neo, Flipping Steve, those guys have said before, they're not just going to take any sponsorship. There has to be something they enjoy, they like. I don't want to say anything negative about others, but some people will quickly sponsor stuff without knowing what they're even sponsoring. And that can be dangerous. The Arena thing, I'm shocked by some of the sponsors, channels that were sponsoring it. Really am. But it is what it is. That's one thing I love about my channel. What's the thing they comment? You just can't get any sponsors. They didn't come up to you. I don't ever. I kind of wish I had people come ask me so I could just tell them no. But because I tell them no, I don't get asked. Does that make sense? Like, of course, Arena Club's not going to say, "Hey, will you sponsor me?" They know I hate repacks. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't make sense, does it? I hope it does. So, last couple of topics I'm going to hit on real quickly. Looking forward to the future, I am confident that we're going to get an NBA Chrome product. I'm trying to budget, like I'll say, I'm trying to budget for 2024. One of my goals going to New Year's, I'm not going to use new money. And it's crazy, right? It's like, what the hell? I'm honestly not. I'm going to regurgitate or eat up what I've got in my inventory. I've been investing in cards for several years. I'm going to use that inventory, those cards, to sustain and propel the future. And I'm going to do it only through breaks. Is another thing I'm going to do. Breaks and probably some boxes. I'll probably do the Montgomery Club thing again. But mainly going to be just through going after breaks. That being the case, I do believe that I need to be ready for some unusual activity in the spring. A Chrome NBA, Chrome football. Even if NT comes out, I don't know, maybe they get the autographs of like Bryce and CJ. I don't know. Maybe there's more CJ on demand. I'll also say this too. I think it was who's the dude? Brian Gray say that Fanatics has already locked up autographs for next year's class. So they don't work things out. You got to get ready. I got to get ready for next year's autographs. Will they do another, online drop? Will there be a Tops Now drop? So I got to be nimble when it comes to football the next 12 months. I'm sorry, next 6 months. 6 months is actually the most important. December through maybe 4 or 5 months. I think football is a really good time right now. Fun. You have the upcoming rookie class for next year. You got this rookie class coming in. You got the products coming in. Uncertainty in the market. Looking for that. NBA, Victor, 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 Victor. I'll be all over Victor products so I can. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm psyched on the Victor stuff. Victor stuff will pull the market. It'll help other things sell as well. And I'll talk about that in future videos. Last topic I'm gonna hit on. I think I'm close to my 30 minutes anyway. Is breaker versus local card store. I made a comment, I think, short on this earlier. I was thinking about this. I was watching Mama Breaks the other night. I've never used her. I've met her. She seems nice. But I do applaud her and many others. I work with a lot of other work with. I buy from. I'm a customer of many other breakers who have built their own little mom and pop shops. Husband and wife breaking. Buddy and his son breaking. And I applaud that. I think they create more community in cards than a local card store does. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but think about it. A local card store, you have to go to it. And when you go to it, you typically have to buy something. I would say, you don't have to, my local card store, you hang out all the time. That might be nice, but they really don't want you just hanging out. They might say they do, but they are there with overhead and they want to sell something. I know I'm not going to get this argument with that, but I think you understand that, right? It's like going to a club. It's like going to a bar and not getting a drink. I'm just going to have a water, please. Going to the Olive Garden, I'm just going to have bread and salad. At some point you're like, But in breaking, you can be involved in a community where you meet the guys locally. You can be in a Facebook group. Most breakers have Facebook groups as well. You can buy, sell, trade. It's global. You get a bigger reach of people who are in it. You get to see some amazing stuff. You get to hear stories about products. You get to see big hits, see people whether you like them or don't like them, see how they do with their breaks. I think that's a great community. Like in my local card store, I don't hear about people coming in, sitting down, opening products and talking about, Joe got the super factor when he left the other day. I think it's interesting. That's one thing that, what's his nuts? Jeff thinks he's going to do in his shop. Is kind of this breaker studio. People are going to come in like Gladiator breaking boxes. I don't think so. I don't want to break a box at someone's store. First of all, I'd rather do it at home where I can, sort and deal with it and keep it all clean and everything like that. Or in my car, by the way. I'd like to break in my car. But I don't think I'd want to do it at a store. So I don't think that's going to work. But I just, again, think that breakers, like what Fanatics should, here's where I'm getting with this. Fanatics should outlaw repacking. You cannot get allocated product from Fanatics if you're repacking products. Right, and that's how you get your first tier. Your first tier, or actually your second tier after Fanatics take tier one with the other manufacturers that are left. They sell directly to distributors, and those distributors cannot sell repacks. Those breakers cannot sell repacks. Those local card stores cannot sell repacks. If they did that, they'd have some great, kind of some control over the health of the hobby. I'm telling you guys, repacks are bad. There's other things you can control there too, and we talked about this last year. They're going to control what the product looks like, what the store looks like. Well, they could control the break. You could have auditing of the breaks. You could, like, for example, a top should have somebody who all they do is buy into breaks and they time how long it takes the product to come, what's it ship like, what's it look like, what's the contents, what is sorted, are there any errors in it? I know this sounds crazy and shit, I'd love to do the job, but you really should. For your breakers, someone should be testing quality. And I don't think it's a big deal to do that. But again, I'm just saying that if they focus on the breaker community and you had more mama breaks and more stories, more success stories too, of people who created their own businesses at home businesses, Zoom, whatever, online streaming businesses, not brick and mortars, which are just as obsolete as freaking office buildings are. I think that's a better way to grow the hobby. So I'd love to hear feedback on this. I'm not saying everybody at local card stores are done, but there's too many of them. Like, we don't need more local card stores. The ones we have, great. Right, reinforce them, let them make them do breaks or whatever, let them build trade nights or whatever. I actually like my little card store locally. They do a lot of charity stuff. They're a really well run local store, and I'm kind of hard sometimes local card stores, so I do see value in them, but we don't need more of them. Right, we do need more mama breaks. Let me say that we need more mama breaks, and we need stronger, better hobby. Okay, last thing we'll talk about. Where am I going now? What's going on? I am warming up for break season. Told you that. I've been selling cards off, selling a lot of cards off. I think I have 50 cards going to DC Sports. 10 have sold so far with disappointing sales. Another 10 are going through with disappointing sales expected. We'll see how the next 30 do. I will be honest, this is not the best cards. These are my 9s, my doubles, not my premier stuff, but I'm taking some beatings and some of this stuff. But it's also end of the year, that's fine. It's part of the, the write-off, whatever they want to call it. You lose now. If I sell a slab for $5, I know why. That's why this shit happens, is kind of what I'll say. Really excited. Bowman Draft, I think, is next week. And then Prizm 2 weeks from now. Building a system. Looking to use ComC more. Like I said, I'm doing some eBay auctions there. I think I might grade some stuff with ComC before the end of the month. Some cards I already have there. It's only $22 a card, which is more than I paid through my supper. But I figure it's already there. Why not get them back, get it in there, and sell it on platform. Time capsules on my list. Still working on that. And Monte Club. I know we got a month extension on that. I'm kind of wondering what's coming out on that. Like I did say they did Sapphire update. I skipped that. I did not go after that. I thought about it. I said no. I've already got, like I said, I got enough things to stay focused on right now with Draft and Prizm this month. I already dipped my toes in Donruss and update. I need to stay focused. Anyway, that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Love your feedback. Please engage. Hopefully this is making it out to the Hobby Now podcast as well.